When it comes to the NBA playoffs, this channel has talked a lot about NBA ratings over the past 2 years for good reason, because we've had some disastrous storylines, usually stemming from woke athletes like LeBron James continuing to make things not about basketball and about everything else. Well, without LeBron James in the playoffs, these are the headlines. NBA posts most watched opening playoff weekend since 2011. And the Nets Celtics opener was the most watched opening weekend game in 20 years. That's all without LeBron James. And of course, LeBron can't help but try to make headlines while everything is being so highly successful without him. LeBron James vows to never miss the postseason again. And here he was. I can/will not miss the postseason again for my career. This shit hurt. Okay, back to watching these games. Freezing cold takes right there, because you know they're going to post that again pretty soon. But how much of a correlation you think there really is between just specifically LeBron and the Lakers missing the playoffs versus what we're seeing in the ratings this year and the success that they're having?
I'll let Johnny pick it up after me, because I know he's going to have a really good in-depth answer. I'll say that, like, I don't think it's specifically about LeBron as much as it's about the wokeness and the political stuff just in general, that they've moved on from that. And there's no more of the pandering, the kneeling, and all of that. So, I mean, LeBron is kind of the poster child of all of that, but I don't think it's isolated just to him and the Lakers as much as it's about the entire situation of it. Obviously helps that LeBron's not there. Which is shocking to say, because he is the biggest star in the league. He just is. There's no doubt about that. You can't deny that. But I think he's a net negative right now for the NBA, and he has been for the last several years. And so I think it's the overall situation of moving on from that. But I'm interested to hear what Johnny has to say.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things, although I do definitely think that plays a part of it. I don't think it's necessarily that LeBron or the Lakers aren't in the playoffs as much as what LeBron potentially brings if he is in the playoffs, which is he's probably the most political player in the league right now. And there isn't that at play. I think the atmosphere returning back to that exciting, like just hearing the noise in the building has definitely made things more exciting. And the competition and the parity, I think, all plays a part too. I don't question at all that, the lack of LeBron and his antics and all that might actually be helping the league in the long run. Because since he's come into the league, I mean, it's been a trend, man. The ratings have gone down and down and down. And, as much as he gets compared to MJ, that MJ was the opposite, And as they've gone down with LeBron, he's becoming more and more hated, because like I said, what was I on here like a couple weeks ago? I said, there are so many groups of people that dislike or hate LeBron James, which whether it be, freaking Warriors fans, or whether it be Kevin Durant fans, or whether it be like Steph Curry fans because of the rivalry, whether it be because of his politics, whether it be because they just don't like his ego, whether it be like there's so many groups of people.
Jordan fans, Kobe
fans potentially. It's weird because as a huge Lakers fan, gigantic Laker fan my whole life, I've seen a lot of Laker fans who have just been like, yeah, I don't like this guy. Just like they're having a hard time admitting that they don't like him because he's so fundamentally different than like what we're used to. I mean, even outside of like all the politics and that sort of thing, the way he plays and way he approaches the game. Like, how many times has LeBron said, "Oh yeah, it's not a big deal because at the end of the day, it's just basketball." Can you envision Kobe saying that? Like, no, Kobe never said that because it was everything to Kobe. He was maniacal about it. He was obsessive about it. So he's just like, and even just like closing out games and passing the ball off to the open guy rather than going, I'm going to take this because I brought us here in this situation. We want you to be a little bit more like Kobe. And so so no matter who you are, it's like people for the most part are having a hard time embracing this guy.
No, and it's like, and I'm going to share something here in just a minute, but I mean, like, I think that you look at Tom Brady, and obviously there's a lot of hatred for Tom Brady within the NFL and other NFL teams and all of that, but I don't think it's hatred like LeBron is. Like, With Brady, it's the competitive hate. You know what I mean? It's people that hate him because he's good and he's done this and he's done that. And like this right here, and I think this is kind of how people view Brady, and this is not how they would view LeBron. You know, it's just a meme, but that's how they view Brady. You know what I mean? Deep down in my stomach, with every inch of me, a pure straight hate you. But God damn it, I respect you. You know what I mean? Like we
A
don't
lot of it,
respect
yeah.
LeBron James. We don't respect LeBron James. Like obviously, I respect his talent. I respect what he's done, and I think he's one of the greatest players of all time. I don't even think that's debatable. But it's what he brings to the table, and it's the fact that I know LeBron James hates me as a human being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and he's made that perfectly clear.
Yeah.
Like that's the hatred for him goes beyond sports, is what I'm saying. It's like we all have people like, oh, I hate that guy. But 9 times out of 10, when we say that, it's from the competitive standpoint.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like with when I criticize Steph Curry, I think Steph Curry's a great guy. You know what I mean? I think he's a fantastic dude, and I think he's really good for the league and everything like that. When I criticize him, it's more so it's not even him as much as just the media's treatment of him. When I criticize LeBron James, I fucking hate LeBron James as a human being. You know what I mean? And I think that's how a lot of people view LeBron.
Yeah, I think that the absence of LeBron James, it's not just that it's him not talking about stuff. I think when LeBron speaks about things, it emboldens and empowers other athletes to talk about things when they normally wouldn't. I think when people see LeBron talking about whatever fucking criminal got shot, rightfully or wrongfully so, right? Whenever they see that, and they see LeBron talking about it, they see LeBron getting headlines by talking about it, they feel like it's okay for them to have a comment on it. Or that reporters start asking people about what LeBron James says. And it's this cycle that accelerates. I think simply the absence of him means that there's a lot less of that narrative going on in the NBA. Because I think by and large, most people are smart enough to just shut the fuck up about that.
Yeah, I think my biggest frustration is I get LeBron's frustrating with it, but I am for like people being able to express their personal opinions and stuff, even if I don't necessarily agree with them. For me, the most frustrating thing is how the NBA itself handles it. And the NBA handles it a lot like Disney handles it, where it's like, oh yeah, we're not freaking political, but you make it very clear that there's certain, there's certain movements and there's certain things that you do in fact support, or there's certain things that you discourage, and it's like, you are a very political organization, and it's the same thing with the media, is it's like LeBron could say something, but then they go ahead and just push it out there and they want to raise him up to be a hero for it. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, I just wish it was at a point where LeBron could say whatever he wants, but then other people like Jonathan Isaac could say whatever he wants, and they're not going to shame him, and they're not going to, make him out to be this terrible person, and the league isn't going to, discourage anything like that. But that's not the world we live in. That's not the media we have, and that's not the NBA that we currently have either. And so for me, that's the most frustrating part, is because LeBron's just a puppet at the end of the day.
And he's actually here. He's here. Hey, LeBron,
yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah, he's a puppet of Nike. Like he's shown over and over again that he will not say anything that's going to go against Nike, because to a certain extent, he might actually believe some of the things he says he believes. But man, he will not speak out for any injustice that involves China at all. He just refuses it. He avoids it. He doesn't even comment on it. And it's like, it's one thing if he just like even ignored it, which I still would think would be gross because of how much he's talked about how he's for justice and that sort of thing. Like that would be bad enough. But then to say that a guy like Daryl Morey is uneducated for his stance on it, when he's actually standing up for justice, he's actually standing up for people who are suffering, who don't have the freedoms that we have. And so, yeah, so I do get very frustrated with LeBron James. I just get frustrated with the NBA and the media's way of handling it, because I feel like they're the ones who could really step in and take control of the league, but they don't. They let the players like LeBron James just completely run the league.